everyone. We're here with Cody from Dungeon Crawl. If you don't know him, you're missing out. It is some killer fucking thrash with some awesome keys mixed in there. Um, that's D&D themed.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Hell
Uh,
yeah.
so I was listening to the upcoming album comes out September 20th.
20th, yeah.
Um, is it the Maze Controller?
That's it. Yeah. Maze controller.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
so coming out on carbonized.
Yeah.
This is the second full length you guys have.
Yeah. Yeah. We have the first one was 2021, and then we did a split it made it to a 12-inch split LP with Throne of Iron from Indiana. Yeah.
Okay.
And they're also like a D&D themed, more like traditional heavy metal. Yeah, but like stylistically not super similar, but the theme is like thematically it's like right on the money. So it
Well,
was
I think splits work really well, even if the sounds are completely different.
yeah,
Obviously, like country and death metal aren't gonna like mix very well, but if you get like
yeah,
power metal or trad or something mixed
right,
with thrash, I could see that working.
yeah. You get a little taste of two like roughly similar styles, but like not like kind of keep little palate cleanser in between.
Yeah, for sure. So, what made you like um get into music and start like playing music?
Yeah, man, that is it's a pretty broad one. I think um like when I was a kid, um I maybe my parents just listened to um my mom for instance just listened to like Cher and just shit like that, like when I was younger, taking me to school, in a minivan listening to like Celine Dion and stuff, the 90s. So I didn't really have a lot of exposure to like heavy music. My dad was he liked Pink Floyd when he was like a teenager, but after that it was just kind of like whatever was on the radio. But yeah, I had a friend in like middle school and then throughout high school who like was just like his whole identity was just like you know metal, like heavy music. His name's Chris. He kind of like introduced me to like everyone's earliest metal band, like Metallica and like Pantera and stuff like that, and then it progressed into like death metal and what he was really into, like when in high school he was really into like Deicide and Morbid Angel and like all the classics. And I kind of like gravitated more towards in high school it was very much like symphonic, like there was like Angra, Rhapsody, Stradivarius, and then like also like thrash stuff too, like I like rooted in I still like Metallica was like my first like heavy band, and I was like Kill 'Em All was like the first record that I like listened to like a lot,
Yeah.
and Megadeth and stuff like that, and then it became like, oh shit, there's like bands that are doing like there's like a new wave of this stuff. So like the Gamma Bombs and like the Bonded by Bloods and Ex Mortis, all those guys who were kind of like doing the resurgence. It was like I got into those when I was like in my late teens and early 20s, and that's kind of like how Municipal Waste, that's how I fell into that. So it was like the mixture of the two, and then yeah, just playing the music was it was like my mom bought me a guitar, because my friend played guitar and then he let me borrow his, and I was like, oh shit, I gotta like figure this out and get my own something better, because it was like a Squire, and I got
Yeah.
like one of those BC Rich. I was like, fucking a Bronze Series Warlock. So
I think
like
I think every metal kid that would like, when they're younger, they're like, I want fucking BC Rich because those guitars are
dude,
so sweet.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, my tastes have like changed. I got like an Ironbird now, and that's like the BC Rich that I'm into, but like yeah, it was like the Warlock was like I was like this shit is so sick
Yeah.
as a kid.
It's the
Yeah.
most metal thing ever. No one's more
Yeah.
metal than me. Look at me, you
Nah,
know.
I can barely play a power chord, but I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm so I'm
Yeah.
so metal. Yeah.
So, that's cool though. I think, I think everyone kind of has that friend who introduces them into the heavier stuff, and it might be a friend or an older brother or something. So that to have that introduction
Yeah.
and watch their tastes evolve too is really pretty fucking interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. And too, like, I mean, so Chris, he was technically like a friend of my brother's, and that's how like I knew him, and then we became closer, as the years went on. But they were like in a, like in high school, they had like a band, like a couple different projects that they were working on together, and my brother used to play drums, um, and he's given it up since. But yeah, they were like, it was partially that it was like yeah, older brother and friend like influenced me, and then
Yeah.
yeah, now it's just like my identity, right?
It's fun.
So
It's so funny because like, for us, I guess for me it was very similar, right? Because
yeah,
it was Metallica and Slayer and Iron Maiden and all that. And
yeah,
the older I got, the more extreme that music got.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
oh shit.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of funny how like for me, like when I'm like, oh dude, I love death metal and I love, like some black metal and like, extreme metal and thrash and stuff like that. And I'm just like, I try to show somebody, I'm like, why don't you like this? And they're like, I'm like pushing it on them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you don't like the most extreme music that you've ever heard? Like, but when I think about it, like, like how I got into it, it was like, not that like, Metallica's like, or Megadeth or whatever are like, considered like light or whatever I guess you could call it. But it's like, they're like definitely like more palatable than like, like Spawn of Possession or, like something like
Yeah.
that, who's just like, extreme like to every degree. They're just like super technical and like you can't even tell what the hell's going on unless like you actually sit there and digest it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You get into a lot of that tech stuff and it's like, holy
Yeah.
shit. How are these guys this freaking good, you know?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, like, that's like a level of musicianship and like practice that I can't.
Yeah.
Like I don't know the time. I got kids and stuff, so it's like,
Yeah. Yeah. Like to be there, I feel like you have to start really early, and take the time and learn, all the crazy scales and all the shit
dude.
you're not supposed to do. And it's like, I'm with you.
Yeah,
I have other responsibilities. There's no way I could sit down and dedicate that much time
yeah,
to it, you know?
dude. Totally. Yeah, and like especially too, it's like I mean, if it was like a career, like I mean, like some people who like like I'm pretty close with the guy from Ex Mortis Conan. And, that's like his career. Like he's like a full-time musician. Dude's a fucking badass. He's like the most like technical, like just like the fastest like shredder I've ever met. And I'm like, yeah, you could do that because you're making hella money doing this stuff, and I'm over here just like losing money on like like I'm
Yeah.
like, oh buying shirts and stuff. Like I gotta like it's like more of an investment into like a hobby than it is like like a career. But yeah, like if I could make it a full time job, then I would like bust my ass at like getting the chops up. But yeah,
Well,
that's
you
just
know,
like
and that's like,
balancing.
that's it. And that's like, it's a tough place to be in. Like, man, if I could make it full time, I'd do it. Well, shit, you could make it full time if you did it,
Right.
like it,
Yeah,
it,
totally.
it's the chicken or the egg, right? That
Yeah.
old, it's like,
Yeah, you got to just like figure out like is it like is it worth it to like to like it's just like taking the leap, I guess, just like being comfortable to like cross that bridge
yeah,
and just like I mean because not that there's no going back. Like I feel like, like if I was to like, do it, it's more of just like a comfort thing. It's like, oh, I'm like scared to do it, like what if it doesn't work out? I'm like comfortable where I'm at, so
yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's I think people will do as humans will do stuff to avoid the pain,
Yeah.
right?
Totally. Yeah,
You know.
just whether it's like ignoring something, like just like or just like preoccupying yourself with, like social media or whatever, or just like
Yeah.
yeah, totally. Just finding ways to like put things off and
Yeah.
not confront it.
Well, it's I could go to work every day and work for this company, which is okay, or I could, go and like really put all my energy into music and turn that into something.
Yeah.
If,
Yeah.
well, I got kids to think about. Like, I guess I'm gonna go to work
Yeah, dude, it's like yeah, you gotta pick and choose,
for
It's
sure.
it's yeah, totally.
So, tell me about Maze Controller. Like, how long did it take you all to write that?
Yeah, so it was mostly written, well, I mean like it was probably like maybe a good like 70% of it was written just like a little bit after the first record. And like I had um the first single was Red Shadows. I had that basically done like structurally, and then the intro track too. Yeah, it was a lot of like like honestly like it was stretched over, so like the whole thing, yeah, probably took maybe like a year and a half,
Okay.
or like but like the structure was all done, and then like we kind of came to a spot where like our drummer, he this is like the first thing he had recorded with us. He's like a new addition to the band. And he like we had kind of like discussed it, and he was like, "Yeah, dude, I'll do the drums for it." Um, but like if we go in like this direction, it would be like like kind of like uh, fully realized, and I think like like we like I would be like all in kind of like scenario, because first it was kind of like a session thing, right? He was like like yeah, I can like lay down the drums in like a couple afternoons, right? And then we can just ship it and be good. But then like we had both discussed that like we're like, oh, we're huge fans of Rhapsody, and just kind of like some symphonic like epic um cheese metal,
Yeah.
so like yeah, let's go in that direction. Let's add like the orchestras and like the symphony stuff, like um you know, and that took maybe like an extra like 6 months or something like that to kind of like just polish it and like make it um you know as best as it could be, or like as best we could make it, right? So yeah,
Get
I would
it
say
get
yeah,
it to
like
a point where y'all are pleased with it.
totally, yeah, yeah. Yeah, because I mean like we did a couple passes, like I like remember like when I had like written like like the most of the parts, I was like, okay, I'll like get like the basic structure done, and then he kind of like iterated over it and like added some additional like layers and all that stuff. And like I wish I could say it was like some huge orchestra that we recorded in like a symphony hall or something like that would be sick, but it was most it was all just like um VST instruments and stuff like that, and like basically like what we had at our disposal. So
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not like you guys are Metallica, you
yeah.
can't go out and have the San Francisco Symphony Orchestra coming.
No, I know. Unless I had, like 100 grand laying around or something like that. I don't know
Yeah.
how much they cost. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know either. I can only imagine, but it's like, and it's so funny because we of course touching on Metallica again,
Yeah.
growing up and seeing like where they came from. No one ever thought they would be where they are.
Yeah. I bet. Yeah. I mean, like I remember, I mean, they were already kind of huge when, I had, gotten into them like early 2000s, right? So like they were like, I saw them at the Cow Palace in San Francisco, and that was like with, I think it was like with Godsmack and another band. But yeah, they were like it was like a stadium at that point, and they were already like huge. But like yeah, like I can imagine like 80s and like 90s, it was like just watching the progression was probably crazy.
Shit, 80s,
Yeah,
because I feel like in the 90s they just exploded,
yeah,
with of course, And Justice for All for them was kind of a stepping stone, and then they hit the
the
Black
bridge.
Album, and it was like,
Yeah, yeah, dude. Black Album was like the one. I mean, that's the one that people say is like written for like for the masses, but like I mean, it's it's catchy, and like there's a lot
yeah.
of good stuff on there. So
Well, it's
uh,
still a Metallica, whatever.
yeah,
They're, of
yeah,
course, at that point they were getting older, so it is what it is. But you know,
yeah.
if you had their money, you could absolutely be like, "Hey, let's get the Philharmonic over here to put keys on, put some strings on the album."
Yeah, I mean that's the goal, and I mean I think like there's like pretty smart ways to do it too. Like if like you're on like a budget, like for instance, like I think um like colleges would probably offer their services like for like like students who just need the
Yeah,
experience. Yeah, so like it's not going to be like yeah, the BBC orchestra or whatever, right? But you know it'll be definitely sound authentic and real and
yeah. Get them while they're
yeah,
young, then you can say, "Oh man, that
yeah,
dude was on my album
yeah,
way back
yeah.
when, before he was something."
Right, exactly, like a virtuoso.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's out there like playing in front of hundreds of thousands of people, just do 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 do.
I know, dude. Yeah, that's my claim to fame.
Yeah, I helped him get there. That's funny. I
Yeah.
did an album. Oh shit, probably coming up on 30 years ago. Oh wow,
Oh, nice. Yeah.
that was a long time ago. And I had this dude, the guy recording me introduced me to Buddy Smith, who did a bunch of strings for country music people, Charlie Daniels and Garth Brooks and Tanya Tucker, and that was like his thing. And he put strings on like two of my songs
Oh,
uh
sweet.
with some other people, and I'm like, I did that.
Dude,
Yeah,
hell yeah.
you know.
Sweet, man. Yeah, you gotta send that to me. If it's
No, I
still
don't have it anymore.
oh shit.
Yeah, so I had all the masters, but my house burned down
Damn.
16 or 17 years ago, and I
Wow.
lost everything there.
Damn, that's a huge bummer.
Yeah.
Where was that like in on the East Coast or?
Yeah, well, so when I recorded, I was living right outside of Nashville,
Okay.
um, and my house burned down in Kentucky.
Okay. Yeah. I have family from there. So my grandpa's from Kentucky.
Oh yeah, where at?
He was like I think it was Bardstown.
Okay,
Yeah,
it's
like
about
right outside
30
of
minutes away.
yeah. Okay, yeah. Right outside of Louisville
Louisville.
or
Yeah,
Louisville, yeah. Yeah. I've
yeah.
never been, but you know.
Well, you should. It's fun, especially if you're a drinker.
Yeah, I mean I do, yeah, I mean that's the only liquor I like is like whiskey and like bourbon. But yeah, and beer. But like yeah, I can't do like vodka or any of the other like clears. Like rum is a little too much for me, that's a little too
Yeah.
harsh.
Now, when I drank, it was like, "What do you got? Just hand it here." Of course, I preferred whiskey and or bourbon and beer,
Yeah.
but um, and I was starting to get into tequila like a lot when
Yeah.
I was like, I think I'm gonna stop drinking for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. Totally, man.
Yeah. So, obviously, right, you guys are D&D themed.
Yeah.
Do you also play D&D?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I do. The other guys,
Uh-oh, you froze. No. Are you there? There you are.
yeah, yeah, I'm here.
All right.
Sorry, give me 1 second. Um, yeah, so like as I was saying, sorry, a little hiccup on the connection there, but
I think it was on my end. I think my son got on the video
oh,
games.
oh, gotcha. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I play. I've been playing since probably like 2004 or five. With when my sister bought me the starter kit, like the starter set for the box for 3.5,
Mhm.
the edition of D&D. And then it's kind of evolved, and then uh, like the reason I even like started this whole thing, this band, was because like fifth edition came out, and it's like 10 years ago now. And it was like just like super hyped on that. And it was like, oh dude, like what if we did this, and like we just like put our creative energy into it. And because like at the time, and and even still now, there aren't like a ton of bands who are doing, yeah, I mean, you see a lot of like general fantasy themed
Yeah.
bands, but it's just like a lot of like Dark Souls and like from soft stuff that people are like really into, and I enjoy those too. But yeah, like I think like yeah, just finding that niche, right? Where it was like specifically tabletop RPGs, and then like combining it with like metal, like my two biggest hobbies like colliding, right?
Yeah.
But
It's
yeah,
like
but yeah,
super passion unite, you know?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, totally. It's like, why not? But yeah, I mean, I play. I haven't played in a while, but like I was, playing a couple campaigns earlier this year, and then like obviously, um, I ran stuff like DM'd a lot before my son was born, and then you know how that goes. Um, Basically, just everything else goes out the window. You just can only you find time for the things that like are like you can't go without. But like the D&D stuff, it like I was like during the pandemic, it was like a couple times a week. We were running
Yeah.
games. Yeah, and it was just like the thing to do, just because it was like
Because
you
there's
know
nothing else to do.
exactly, yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, like yeah, I definitely need to. I mean, the new they call it the 2024 Player's Handbook, but it's basically this like the sixth edition of D&D comes out, or it's already out. Like it's available on um, dndbeyond.com, which is like their virtual um, repository for
I
source
don't
books
know
and
if
stuff.
he's being sponsored or not, so let's hope he is.
No, no. Am I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this stuff,
Yeah, you
because
are.
they got
Absolutely.
yeah, hit me with a copyright strike or something. But yeah, yeah, no, the it officially releases on like the 17th of this month, and it's like perfect timing because
Yeah.
it's like, album comes out on the 20th, so it's like, just plug that everywhere we can. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that's cool. So so obviously D&D, did you get into was it Shadow's Run at all?
Shadowrun,
Yeah.
not no, I've actually never played. It's mostly just been limited to um D&D, and then like some flavors of it. Like there's like the old school revival stuff called well, they've got like a whole bunch of different like systems, but there's like one that we played, a group of my friends and I played, called Swords and Wizardry. And it's like more unforgiving and brutal, kind of like mimicking the original systems. And then there's Old School Essentials, which is like a little bit more refined, and like it's like very similar, where it's like stuff just seems to like resolve a lot faster, and like the older stuff, like because like you can play like in the new editions, it's like fifth edition, it's like, oh, um, you know, it's like time for combat, and then it's like everyone kind of like knows that it's gonna be like, depending on how many people are in the party, it's gonna be like a slog, and it's like, oh shit, like like each turn takes like 10 minutes, like oh, it's the fucking wizard's turn, like what is he gonna do, like what spell is he's gonna look through all of his fucking spells, and like when you're playing in person, it's like it's fun, more of a social thing, and get together and like drink beer with your friends and stuff like that. But it's like when like sometimes it devolves into like people just looking at their phones, and then it's like, oh, it's your turn, and they're like, oh, what am I doing, so um definitely a lot better when you have, I'll say, like when you have people who like read the books and like know what they do, and then also like what they're doing, and then like or like engaged in the story, and
Yeah.
um, yeah. So it's like yeah, but it's like it's you don't want to be too much of a stickler, right? It's like you gotta it's a balancing act.
Yeah.
Fine.
Well, I mean, you do it to have fun,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I
make it,
mean, definitely over everything, it should be about having fun.
yeah.
Yeah, and telling a
J
story, and yeah,
just like music, right? Like
yeah,
it's
yeah,
if nothing more, it needs to be a nice creative outlet that is fun and entertaining for whoever's playing it.
yeah. That's why we all get into it. It's just to like have fun and to like escape, and like not have to worry about the world for like half an hour while you're playing on stage, or
Yeah.
a couple hours while you're practicing or jamming or whatever, right? So
Yeah, for sure. So I know the new album's coming out on Carbonized.
yeah,
That is also Vile Rights has an album
yeah,
coming out on Carbonized.
yeah, yeah, totally. Um, those dudes are sick, man. They're um close to us. I think they're in the North Bay. So I'm in like the San Jose area,
Okay.
South Bay. And I think they're up near like San Ramon or something. That's like maybe like an hour north of me.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but they're like, like all super talented. Like the drummer plays in Laceration. I don't know if you know them.
Mm-mm.
Laceration. um and then guitarist is in a couple things, but he also plays in Mortuis, who are also on Carbonized.
Yep.
Um, yeah, and then the bass player is Steven. He's in Vector, and then he's done a few other projects too. But yeah, like I think like they're all super talented, and like we're doing a record release show on the 27th of this month, and they're playing with us, so it's gonna be a
Right
good
on.
time.
That'll be fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That'll be a lot of fun. I talked to they were on when did I talk to them? Last week or the week before?
Yeah. Nice.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're sick, man.
that new Vile Rights is fucking really good too. I think
Yeah, yeah.
that'll be a killer show, you both being on there.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be sick. Yeah, I think like it's cool like what they're doing. Like, I mean they've got like some synth stuff that they're adding into like the into the sound, and then it's like little like psychedelic and also very progressive. And like like when I first heard it, I was like, oh, this sounds like it's like its own thing, and it's got like a lot of like influences you can tell, but it definitely reminded me of like Blood Incantation or something
Oh
like
yeah.
like yeah, like a more progressive like like odd time signatures, um just like brutal and fucking badass.
Hell yeah. I love the
Yeah,
shit out of Blood Incantation. Like we did
yeah, dude,
they were here last year.
nice.
I don't know, maybe
Okay.
last year. Is whenever it was them, Gorguts, Mayhem, and Cannibal Corpse.
Yeah, I went to the San Francisco date, and they were all out of like the long sleeves that they dropped the single, or it was like a single and then like a synth track,
Yeah.
Luminescent Bridge, and yeah, I was like, I want the long sleeve, but they were out of my size.
You're like,
Yeah, I
no.
did. Bummed, but yeah, I spent so much on merch that night. It was like two Gorguts shirts, like a windbreaker, or two Gorguts long sleeves. So, they're like $40 each or some shit.
Yeah.
And then Blood Incantation, like windbreaker, like a Cannibal Corpse hat. It just like, I was like, oh, dude, I'm like $200 poorer. And
Yeah.
then on top of the ticket.
Like, damn it. I know.
Yeah.
That's the downside with going to shows. I think you're like, okay, so the ticket's like 50 or $60, whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's cool. And then you get there and you're like, oh, I want to have a beer or whatever. And they're like,
Dude.
oh, beer's $15. And you're like, that
Crazy.
includes tip? They're like, no, that's without the tip. You're like, Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
I know, dude. Yeah. We played a show recently. At the prop shop in Richmond. It's like a small kind of DIY spot. It's actually
Mhm.
like a boat propeller store. Um, yeah, it's pretty sick. And they're selling Modelo's for like $3, and I was like, this is the best.
Yeah,
The
why can't
best
every
night.
place do like this?
Seriously. Yeah, like a huge upcharge for, draft beer or whatever, right?
Yeah. Well, so I went to see High on Fire actually this past Saturday, and the place we went, it's one of those Live Nations venues, and that's, they're like, "Oh, you want a tall PBR? It's like $15." You're like, "It's fucking PBR."
Yeah. Yeah. It's I mean, that's the same thing at like a sports game, go to like the hockey games or the baseball games out here, and it's just like, yeah. Um, you're paying like I think where did I go recently where I went to a similar venue, um, Shoreline Amphitheater here in Mountain View. It's right next to like the Google complex.
Mm.
My wife and I saw a concert and it was like $20 for a beer.
Oh
Yeah.
God.
It was crazy.
Like I'm like I'm that this is where I'm like, okay, I'm glad I quit drinking. Like I drink a lot of
Yeah.
liquid death now, and they're still
Yeah.
like, you get it at a venue and they're like, well, it's $6. Like, well, it's
Yeah.
better than 15 or 20 for a beer.
True. Yeah. And it's something like, like for me, it's like when I'm like holding something, I feel more comfortable like a venue or something, I don't know. It's just one of those things.
Well, yeah, because
Um,
otherwise you're standing there like, what do I do with my
yeah.
hands?
Yeah. It's like pockets or arms crossed or
Yeah,
whatever.
like I don't know what to do. I feel
Yeah.
weird. Like,
Totally. Yeah.
um, so all the bands that you've played with, is there a band that sticks out the most as like, man, they were probably one of the best live shows I've ever seen?
Yeah, we actually haven't played too much, but I mean we're trying to get on that. But um I think every band that we played with at the last show was just like, crazy. It was us malpractice who are our like local um hemotoxin who are like another local band and they're just like crazy good like progressive like death thrash. And then Seizure, who are like they're also like fantasy themed thrash, and those dudes just have like so much energy. It's like crazy. I mean, they're young, right? Probably like early 20s, but like just watching them like run around stage and like jumping up and down and
Yeah.
stuff, and like put on a hell of a show. And then Ex Mortis was the headliner, um, and I am like life not lifelong, but like I mean, since I was a kid, like I said kid, but maybe like late teens, I was like Ex Mortis was
Yeah. At
the,
this age,
my shit.
teen is
Yeah,
still a kid, you know what I mean?
yeah, totally, yeah, yeah. But yeah, I mean, they were just like I've seen them a few times, but like those dudes just like so precise and like the music is just so it's melodic too. I mean, like people usually
Yeah.
lump them together with like the thrash revival, but they're just like their own like melodic extreme metal. Like I wouldn't even call them thrash, right? Yeah, just so um like I
Very,
respect.
very talented,
Yeah,
and you can tell in their live show like how tight they are.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, and like yeah, like you just hear like the influences too, like all the like the it's all like classical music. Just like I feel like no, I mean like this day and age, a lot of like the stuff that appeals to like the American listeners like palette is like I feel like caveman death metal or whatever, right? It's like and I love that stuff too, right? And like it's got I feel like just with Ex Mortis, it's like they're
Definitely
like
not like, some old slam or anything.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, just like their whole vibe and like I was mentioning like the classical influences like Beethoven and
Yeah.
um like you hear things it's like oh dude that's like I mean he covered like the guy Conan he he covered like a Vivaldi song right on his last record
Hell yeah.
yeah and it's just like but it made it like into like a metal song right it's fucking sick
Yeah.
yeah
That's
so
crazy. That's freaking awesome though, right? Like
yeah
I think there's obviously the beauty of music is there are so many different styles and so many ways to like mesh different styles, you
Totally.
know.
Yeah.
Um, I think you're right. It's the heavier, I'm gonna say dumber riffs that, that people eat up. I'm 100% guilty. Give
No,
me
me too. Yeah.
some just slam fucking death metal. I love hardcore, just some
Yeah.
real brutal in your face. Like I love it. It
No, it's
fucking
like it, when it's way easier to comprehend, Like I feel like, it's just like I mean, like part of listening to music is like I mean, when you get into like the theory side of things, and like you have people who are more like who like analyze it a little bit more. I feel like that's like when it's appropriate, and like like you want to find those bands who are like technical, and like you can like just study them and learn from them. But like the other side of it is like you just want to turn your brain off, and like you just want to like change the way you're feeling, right? Like
yeah.
it's like yeah. So I mean like those bands, like where I mean like I'm like I love stuff like that too. Just like the new wave of like of bands who just like they ride that like super hard, like like 200 stab wounds, and
Oh yeah.
like Frozen Soul, where it's just like the beat is just like it's just like a fucking simple skank beat, and the riffs are just like super easy to follow, but it's like it like gets you there, and like makes you feel
It does, creeping
yeah,
death's right in there too. Like,
yeah, totally. Creeping
just
Dead.
fucking oh, we've got there's a band here that I really fucking love a lot. Redivider. They're
Okay,
fucking fantastic.
yeah, I'll check
Um,
them out.
yeah, just out of you won't find them on Spotify. Um,
Okay,
if you
yeah.
look at Redivider on Spotify, you'll be like, this is not death metal at all.
Are
Um,
they like a band camp or something, or
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
sick.
they're fucking great though. Tremendous show. I actually interviewed a dude from North Dakota last night. We were talking, and I was like, "Hey, who you listening to right now?" And he's like, "Redivider, dude. I fucking love
Sick.
those guys." And I'm like, "Oh, hell yeah! I love the
Yeah,
shout out to the locals."
fuck yeah,
You
dude, that's
know,
rad.
that's super fucking cool. So you say you're trying to play more. What does that look like over the next 6 or 8 months?
Yeah, phew, man, I mean, I think like well, we have the release show on the 27th. And then October 25th, we're playing like it's like an event called Orktoberfest. Um, I mean, it's yeah. So it's like October 25th, in Santa Cruz, California. There's us, and we're opening. There's War Troll, who they dress up in troll costumes. You can tell this is like a themed event, right?
Yeah.
So and then there's
Not like the name doesn't give it away.
right?
Orktoberfest.
Yeah. And then there's a System of a Down tribute band called System of a Clown, and then I think they're like yeah, in like clown get up. And then the headliner is a band of orcs, and they're all dressed up as orcs. So
Hell yeah.
yeah.
W-
So yeah, those are the ones that we have planned. We've had a few other offers. But our drummer just welcomed a newborn into the world, so we're like trying to play it by ear and see, like what we can do and what we can't.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and then but I mean I want to start, maybe like next summer, just like hit the road. I mean, like I'd like to go maybe do like a few like week-long runs, like, in the Pacific Northwest, or maybe like I mean the East Coast would be rad, but
You
kind of
need a
got to
little
see where
more than
everyone's
a
at.
week to get over there, though.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I mean, like maybe like hit a tour, like a little leg of a tour, and like if someone can backline for us or something like that, that'd be sweet.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool
Yeah,
for
yeah,
sure. I'm sure you'll make it happen just getting yourself out there, which you are doing.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Thanks, man.
s- so with Maze Controller, what physical copies or physical media are you guys going to have?
Yeah, so we have LPs. So there's like the black variant, and then we're gonna have it's on its way right now. We have like a green and yellow like marble. Kind of try to like make it look like on the cover art, he's got like his hand over like the labyrinth, like the maze.
Yeah.
So we're kind of going for that vibe, right, to make it look like the maze.
Match the
And then
colors. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and then we have cassettes. They're like red, and then CDs, and then we'll have like long sleeves, and then shirts, like two different designs. So
Hell
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
That'll be super, super cool. Do you have
yeah,
like with the release, do you have expectations or maybe goals that you'd like to hit with it?
yeah. I mean, I don't have anything like personally. I obviously want it to do well, and like I want it to like get out there and kind of like solidify, like Dungeon Crawl's name as like like a band who's got like like a unique spin on like extreme metal, because we blend in like some dungeon synth stuff too, which you typically only see with like black metal bands, right?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and then and like we have like the whole orchestral thing on top of the thrash element. But yeah, like mostly I just kind of want to see um I want it to succeed in terms of like like for like label success. Like I want to see it do well, like sell well for for Chad, who he's helping us out, like get the get the label, like with the label support, getting like the physical copies pressed and all the shirts, and like doing the promo. And dude is like a badass. He just like he's played I think like 200 some odd shows at Necrot this year. And then like Mortuous, he did a tour with them too, and I have no idea what he's planned for the rest of the year, but like he's just like nonstop, and then he's like managing the label and stuff on top of it too. So I
It's
wanted to
yeah,
like
it's all go all the time. And
yeah,
of course, Necrot is like they are a non-stop force too.
yeah. I mean, like I'm like I've asked him a couple times. I'm like, "Dude, you ready to get back into your bed and like just not have to worry about traveling for the next like couple months?" And he's like, "Oh, been dreaming about it, you
Yeah.
know."
Yeah, but
So
I think like there are a lot of guys like that, like they're all go all the time and they don't have an off switch. So when they're home for even a week, like by the end of the week,
yeah,
they're like, holy shit, I got to do something. Like,
yeah, totally. I I would be like that too, like I feel like um I mean like when I'm I'll tell you, I can't remember the last time I was bored. Um like I mean like I'm always just like I have to fill my time with something.
yeah,
And like the only time like I'll like stop is like when I'm like sleeping, yeah, so it's like whether I'm like going, I mean like typical dad stuff, like I'm going to like a Home Depot to get some shit to like fix, something here at the house, or like I'm writing new music, or like trying to like meet up with somebody to like accomplish something. Um
yep.
yeah, it's just
I totally get it. My day lately, it's been starting at like 6, which is like
yeah, yeah.
for years I was getting up at 4:30. So
Ooh,
like
dang.
get up at 4:30 and go and like and then it ends about 9, 10 o'clock at night. And then I'm like,
Yeah,
all right, cool, I'm going to bed. And then it's,
yeah,
starts over again. And that was 7 days a week. But I have 3.5 businesses, right?
dang.
Plus I do this. So it's just like,
Damn, dude. I mean, that's the way to do it. I mean, like you're gonna I feel like you'll hit a point if you're running your own businesses, man. Um, you'll hit a point where you're just like, I'm good. Like they'll just like manage themselves, and like, um,
that is the goal, right? Get
and
them
then
all to a
yeah,
point where they kind of self-manage, where I don't
yeah,
have to be over it all the time. But I'm
and then it's
I'm
just
I'm still far away from that.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, that shit. That's like, way. I don't know. I'm a slave to the grind, dude. I'm like, I'm working 9 to 5, so that's hella respectable, man.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, sometimes you're like, man, I just wish I had a fucking 9 to 5.
Yeah,
Like
I bet. Yeah.
my wife has to plan stuff out weeks in advance so we can actually
Fuck.
do it. Like
Damn.
she's like, hey, she told me today, she's like, did you see in the calendar we have a retirement party Saturday? And I'm like, I didn't see it at all. Like, I haven't even looked at Saturday yet. I don't know what that looks like, but
Dude,
all right.
write it on my forearm. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Put fucking post-it note on my
Yeah.
forehead in the morning. Whatever. Um, yeah, but she's been really good about that. It took her I used to have a 9 to 5, and when I transitioned to an entrepreneurial lifestyle, like she's like, "Can you turn it off?" I'm like, "No, I honestly can't."
Yeah. Just
It
go, go, go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like my phone has rang 5 times since we've been on the phone since we've been talking.
Damn.
So I'm like, got to take care of some more shit. But I mean, that's all right, because
Yeah.
it's better that it's moving in that direction than not.
Hell yeah. Yeah, that's great, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it'll be like, whether you with like passive income or if you sell it or whatever, right? Then that's become just like, like it's a huge investment in your own future.
That would be the hope to like
Yeah.
sell it off and just fucking be like, okay, I'm
Dude.
retired now. I quit.
Yeah, dude. The dream.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I won't quit. I'll start something else because I'm ridiculous like that. Okay, Cody. I greatly appreciate your time. Thanks for showing up. I love learning
Yeah.
about Dungeon
Yeah.
Crawl. I'm super excited to see what happens with Maze Control when it comes out and to see what happens with you guys in the future.
Thank you so much, man. Yeah, I mean, I really appreciate it. Sorry I was late. Yeah.
It's all right.
Uh,
It's all part of it, man.
yeah. Yeah, sweet. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me, and just really looking forward to getting the music to people's ears.
To the masses. Listen
Yeah.
to Dungeon Crawl.
Please.
Yeah.
I'll give you a
Awesome,
dollar.
dude. Well, go. Oh, shit. Hold on. Don't be promising that. Like, you're going to have everyone like,
If if you stream the album 50 times, I'll give you a dollar.
"Mm, not, you're still going to be losing money. It's got to
That's
be,
true.
you got to stream the album for 1,500 days straight.
Yeah, and then I'll make a dollar on
Then,
Spotify.
yeah, then I
Royalties.
can afford to pay you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, go and have yourself a great day, dude.
Cool. You too, man. Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
brother. Yep.
All
See
right.
ya.